final round. Dad. Hello and welcome to the final round of Swiss here at OTB Central. We have a pretty interesting matchup coming for you guys. Kyle Sucevich, Pooka on your left versus Ross Cawthon on your right. For those of you who aren't really up to speed on your Pokemon history, these guys are two of the best players in the game, both top 5 of all time. Pooka, the best performing player at U.S. Nationals ever. Ross is an invite every single year. These guys have been on stream before. It's arguable that either of these guys is the greatest of all time. Like I said, they're in the top 5 for sure. Getting an interesting matchup, especially because we picked this match because neither of them can draw. Doing the math a little bit, we think that 30 points is safe, and 29 is probably in, but not quite sure. And as you can see, a win will put either of these guys at 29.
For sure. We're expecting a lot of people to finish with 29, so it's not even a guarantee. So they're definitely on the what's the word I'm looking for? They're on the cusp of top cut. Yeah.
Right.
They're on the brink.
They're almost on the top cut. All right, and so Pooka will be going first.
And the race begins. Just a quick refresher. On the right we have round 2 of our triathlon. Looks like Martha Stewart is taking an early lead. We had Gandhi win the swimming portion, and we'll keep you guys updated on that as it progresses.
And so we have Kyle open an EV across from a Black Kyurem EX. He's going to attach a fighting and then just N. So what do you think the matchup is like?
Yeah, this is actually going to be really interesting. Kyle plays Leafeon and Zoroark, and I played that Victini Terrakion deck, and instead of Driftlins, I played Leafeon and Zoroark in an attempt to counter Blastoi, and I found that it's not quite enough. So I feel like Terrakion is huge. It helps a lot. Kyle does not play a single EX, which makes a humongous difference.
Plays Landers.
He just won't bench it. Sorry, my deck, I had to use my EXs at least once. But Ross probably won't be able to take an EX prize, like 2 prizes off of 1 Pokemon, and he won't have the resources to block Ballista 6 times. That'll force him to use Keldeo at least once or twice, which gives Kyle an opening to use Leafeon. Black Ballista Kyurem is susceptible to Zoroark. So I think the fact that Kyle is only going to be attacking with non-EXs is going to swing the matchup possibly into his favor, or at least keep Ross on the edge of his seat. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for either player.
Yeah, I know that speaking to Ross in the interview we did a little bit ago, he said that he was kind of scared of the matchup. Didn't give any details or anything, but definitely just said that he was nervous about it and didn't think it was super great, which makes sense, as you know, he just broke it all down. Really hard because both of these players are, players who could very easily win this event, and now we're getting to a stage where one of them might be in top 8 and the other is not. Probably.
For sure. It's disappointing to see that we're not going to be able to see a repeat of this in top 4 of the finals. We're guaranteed that one of these guys will not make top 8 after this match, so pretty tense. I'm sure they are definitely feeling the pressure.
And so Ross has a decent start. He doesn't really have much going for him, but he does have the 2 Squirtles, which is all you can really ask for, And Kyle's forced to end again, so he's not exactly in an amazing position. He does have the DCE on the Zora, and I think the matchup is probably 60-40 in Kyle's favor if I had to give it a number.
It has to be disappointing for Kyle to keep seeing N as his only supporter option early game, just because N is so strong against Blastoise.
Absolutely. He's already played 2 of them. Drifloon going on the bench.
I'm assuming we're going to see a Beach from Kyle this turn. That's like the only explanation for him benching the Drifloon.
Right.
He held on to the Bengal, which I like. I don't really see any reason for him to attach it, just draw the extra card. We know Ross plays at least 1 Tool Scrapper. I know at the Klasinski Open, Ross played 1 Tool Scrapper, 1 Computer Search, and that was it. So if he's playing a similar list, Kyle's Bengals are going to be safe for the rest of the game, since Ross has already played his 1 Tool Scrapper, but he may have switched to Dowsing or added a second. Who knows?
Right.
Ross knows. Sam Chen probably knows. That's about it.
And Ross is taking his time, deciding on what to do. Doubtful that he does have the rare candy Blastoi, so that's the first step. And if you're Ross here, I think you really. I mean, what do you try?
He wants to Secret Sword that Eevee. I think that's ideal for him to be able to take a few prizes with Secret Sword before Kyle can get a Leafeon online. That would be super strong for him. If he's Skylaying right now, I don't see him getting 3 Water Energy this turn, which is unfortunate for Ross. But I think being able to Secret Sword that Eevee would be a huge leg up for Ross and would definitely make him a favorite for Game 1.
And for those of you who don't know, because Zoroark hasn't really been played all that much in recent times, the problem is that Black Kyurem versus Zoroark is that Zoroark can copy the attack for just a DZE, and it does have to discard the DZE, but it's still just a non-EX stage 1, discarding essentially one of your energies and doing 200. So
and just to be a little more specific, for people who may not know exactly what Zoroark does, Foul Play for 2 colorless energy, you copy one of the attacks on the defending Pokemon. So with a Zoroark, you can Black Ballista for 2 colorless energy. But you have to discard them, obviously. Right. So in Leafeon, if anyone isn't aware, for 1 colorless energy, it does 20 damage times the amount of energy on your opponent's field. So if your opponent has 4 energy in play with a Silver Bangle, Leafeon can one-shot a Keldeo for 1 energy. If your opponent has 5 energy in play, Leafeon doesn't need the Bangle. So Kyle plays 2 very specific Blastoise counters in Leafeon and Zoroark. So Ross is definitely going to have an interesting time trying to play around both of those. We see Ross taking some notes right now.
He's taking notes, though.
Yeah, it looks like he's jotting on a piece of paper. He's got a pen.
There's a little bit of discussion. And we see Ross takes the catcher off of the Skyla. So do you think that
I'm not sure.
He's going to computer search. So do you think maybe he has...
I don't know what he has in mind if he Skyled for a catcher and then computer searched. He might be... I'm really not entirely sure.
I don't know how many cards are in his hand, but it's possible that he has a Secret Sword, but he wants to target down the Zoroark first.
But yeah, that's very valid. Oh, he can slash. Yeah. So we're gonna see him slash. Slash the Zorua. That seems just as good as getting the Eevee. I mean, both of them were huge threats to him. His Black Kyurem was stuck active, so Zoroark was a bigger threat. It had the DCE. Leafeon can't really do anything if there's not a lot of... like right now, Leafeon can't one-shot a Keldeo even with a Bangle. So going for the Zorua there was definitely a better play. I still think a 3-energy Secret Sword on the Eevee could have arguably been better because then he could have locked Kyle out of Leafeon and just killed a bunch of easy non-EXs with Secret Sword. And
I think if he had the option to do that, he probably would have.
Absolutely. I know for sure that he didn't have the option. You were talking to someone else. I was just explaining that with what he had, killing Zoroark was a great play, but I think he would have been better off had he been able to kill that Eevee with the 3-energy Secret Sword.
And a little bit of a Kyle lane killing. We're fine. And sorry, a little bit of interruption to the table.
Yeah, we'll maintain the recording for the time being. I'm not sure if we're live at the moment. Somebody just punched Chase directly in the face and then unplugged a few of our wires.
We see Kyle. Sorry, it's really distraction. We see Kyle Super Rod.
Yep. All right, so we're live. Sorry,
we never dropped
for a second. All right, cool.
They probably don't even know, honestly. So, I mean, yeah, this puts Ross in a really good position. I'm not sure what Kyle's plan is. He does have the Leafeon in hand, but the Leafeon does not KO the Keldeo, does it?
No. Unless, 20, 40, 60. Oh, my God, yeah, it does. Sorry. If he gets a catcher here, you can knock out the Keldeo. And he did.
So it's going to be important because the thing you have to consider too about this matchup, Mike talked about this a little bit earlier, but if Kyle catchers knocks out the Keldeo, Ross can just respond with the Black Kyurem or even the Keldeo.
But he can't do that 6 times.
The what I'm leading to is the problem is that all of these Pokemon are non-EXs. So everything that Kyle knocks out is taking 2 prizes. It's basically 2 Pokemon.
Precisely.
Whereas Ross, like, the whole point of Blastoise, the whole idea behind Blastoise is that you have Black Ballista 3 times.
Yeah.
And Black Ballista 3 times is, as we've seen, sometimes hard to achieve. So when you're trying to do it 6 times, it might just be a little bit impossible. What Ross can do, I think, you can see Ross, his body language is just telling him that he's just kind of upset. What you can see Ross try and do is if he eliminates the threat of the Eevees and the Leafeons, he can focus on Keldeo. I'm not sure how much Ross knows about Pooka's deck. Mewtwo is definitely a thing you could kind of suspect here. And also, he doesn't know how many Leafeon he plays, doesn't know how many Super Rods he plays. You know what I mean?
We see Kyle evolved to a Flareon, which leads me to believe he might not play a second Leafeon.
For what it's worth, he did play the other Eevee.
That's true, yeah. So and Leafeon isn't going to be doing much for him this turn. Being able to retaliate this turn is enormous. Like, putting 90 on that Black Kyurem ensures that almost anything can kill him. Leafeon, you need 4 energy in play for Leafeon to kill that Kyurem now. You could just attach a 3rd energy and Land Crush. Flareon might do it at this point. I'm not sure how many.
And unfortunately, I think Ross also... I don't think he expected the Leafeon on the Keldeo. Like, I don't think Kyle really had it. And so he discarded his hand down pretty far. Like, I think last turn he just drew and attached. He's drawing an extra card off the prize, but it's very... Like, Ross could just be in top deck mode, which is never where Blastoise wants to be.
Absolutely.
And even if Kyle is kind of slow on the uptake, something goes wrong, if Ross just keeps drawing energy or, whatever, random cards that are just essentially blank, it's never going to be good.
Yeah, so it looks to me like Kyle is definitely in a winning situation. Ross is going to need to draw pretty well to get out of this. If he Black Ballistas that Terrakion, he'll be at 3 prizes, and we'll have Black Ballisted twice. So if he's only relying on Black Ballista, then we'll know he has to Black Ballista at least 5 times. It's pretty sketchy. Slash is pretty relevant here. Kyle does play a lot of basics with less than 60 hit points, or 60 or less. Kyle is checking his discard to see what his Flareon could be doing now.
Your final rankings are being posted on the board.
Ross looking through the discard piles, thinking a little bit. A thing to think about too is, like, a lot of times when players are thinking like this, I take it as a good sign of, like, oh, they're trying to figure out their options. But with Ross, knowing him for as long as I have and watching him play his past 2 weeks, he often will do that when he has nothing, just to 100% confirm he has nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, like, right. Ross is like things like Ross plays rogue decks. Ross thinks that's the box until he'll just, like, sit there and spend 30 seconds making sure that this random thing can't, you know what I mean, happen. Mm-hmm. That's one of the skills, I think, that just is one of the small edges that makes Ross very good.
And that's definitely, I mean, that's a really big skill, or a really big, like, habit to keep in mind and to try to get into.
Definitely. So he has superior energy retrieval, so he's going to be able to Black Ballista again.
Just want to point out that over here at Central, we currently have 173 viewers, and Harrison in Philadelphia has 2.
Is Harry's not live?
I think there was something wrong with Twitch, because then it just switched to like 40-something. But it said 2 for a second.
It's literally Harrison on his other computer, and then, like, Harrison's mom.
So, Harrison! Oh, you're doing wonderful! I'm so proud!
So we see Ross get the Black Ballista, but now, I mean, he has 3 prizes left. Like,
yeah, I've said this so many times today, and I've only been wrong like once. I don't see how Ross wins here. Kyle also does not have much on board. I think Kyle really needs to bench a Zorua just to try to keep that Black Kyurem in check. That could be what he's Ultra Balling for now. I'm expecting a Beach from Pooka here.
No Zorua, looks like. I didn't see one going through the deck.
I wouldn't be surprised if he played a 1-1.
What are the HPs on the EVs and the Drifloons?
50.
So one of Ross's outs could just be slashing.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 prizes there for slashes.
I already mentioned that, but she listened to me. You're a bad friend.
Alright, I just heard the words. I don't think Ross can win. I'm just trying to show you how he could.
Sure did.
Sure. So there's a Drifblim. So
sucks that Kyle keeps. We saw this in his last game. I think he plays too many Colress because he just keeps benching. Like his deck is really matchup dependent, and he keeps having to bench dead cards like Drifloons on turns where he has like a really crucial Colress he has to play. So the reason he has these Drifloons out is not because there's some sort of crazy anti-Blastoise Drifloon that you guys probably haven't heard about. It's just because he needed a Colress for more earlier.
Guys online right now.
Both of them are nobody heard you, man. You're fine. Both of them are pretty worthless against Blastoise. That goes without saying. I'm just filling time because not a whole lot's happening in the game right now, or my life. I'm going nowhere.
And so you see the second Flareon come down. That probably means that Kyle either does not play a second Leafeon or does not have access to a second Leafeon.
There's a Leafeon in his hand, but he also just benched an Eevee. He
Right,
might be
fine,
trying to
that's fine.
bluff that he does, like he's out of Leafeon.
Right.
Because I mean, he had us fooled, and we're analyzing the game just like Ross
We're
is,
geniuses, so yeah.
and we're the best.
So yeah, it's also possible that like again he is like one of like Ross's path to victory at this point is probably just Keldeo. I mean, slashing the Driflims are only going to get him so far.
Leafeon?
You literally just said that, Chase. But
Canadians can't read.
yeah, you also can't hear.
Big shocker! Gandhi is actually really trailing behind in the race.
35 minutes left in this match. Kyle Peaches to end his turn.
Nigel Thornberry is trying to make up for a lackluster run in the swimming portion of the triathlon.
Tool Scrapper on the floatstone.
To receive your prizes or to get your recording, you will have until
I don't know what the last card in Ross's hand is. Looks like he's considering playing it, so maybe it's a Skyla or...
Oh, is that a second scrapper? Or did he just move the scrapper to the top of the
no, he
card?
played the Scrapper. He scrapped the
So he does play too.
floatstone. Yeah. I think it might just be an energy in his hand, considering just throwing down. And this is not the best spot for Ross to be in, but he does have the beach. Fill his hand back up.
Flareon, I don't think is super threatening at this point. We haven't seen Kyle's discard in a while, but I don't think he's to the point of doing an absurd amount of damage.
He tucks the Pokemon on the bottom. There's at least a few in there. But I don't think it's enough to really super threaten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like we had 6 in there. More than I thought. So how much is that with the 6 on the Black Kyurem?
Are you talking about in the discard?
Yeah, there's
6
6 boys in that discard.
80. It
So it's 20 plus 10 for each.
yeah.
And then he can do...
Dude, Kenny, how are you in 2 places at once right now?
Where am I? Is that me?
That guy looks like you.
Yeah, this kind of look like me. I'm more handsome though.
Wrong.
So he's doing 80.
He's
he has a
forced
Bango,
to
he can do
evolve to that
110.
Drift Blim to give his Drifloon free retreat, which is pretty annoying for Kyle. Like, that's just one more Pokemon that won't end up in his discard pile. He does end up evolving to Leafeon, so if he was trying to bluff it, he still at least wanted to get it down before he ended himself slow.
He's going to end Ross's 7-card hand down to 3. It's just really strange. Again, watching Kyle this whole weekend has just been kind of strange. His deck's definitely off the wall, and spot him here, brought him to a top 8 or top 16 finish, and he's going to end for 4. And hopefully, I mean, let's push. I think if Ross was already losing this game, this just puts him in such a poor position. I think again, Kyle has 6 Pokemon. It looks like in there.
7, 8.
Jesus, 9. Okay. Well, that's going to be a knockout.
Oh, I didn't realize the Kyurem had damage on it.
Yeah,
They were using our dice.
Yeah, Rush is actually using like brown and blue dice. It's like it's just like
worst.
Matches the Black Kyurem, camouflaged in. But
So yeah, that was really big.
Dustin Zimmerman won his match,
No one can get 32.
and he's into the top 8.
Dustin Zimmerman was confirmed to be the first seed going into top 8. My dad, everyone. So proud of him. Wish he'd give me a bite of his omelet.
Third at Worlds 2013.
Mike Newman's about to eat an omelet without a fork.
I'm about to eat an omelet without a fork. A cold omelet, mind you. Oh my god.
And Ross is left with nothing on board. He's left with a Blastoise and a Squirtle. I think it's pretty safe to say Ross is out of this game, but who knows when he can pull off. He has been ended.
Oh my god.
He has been ended 3. Kyle has a grip full of Pokemon, a Bengal, a Juniper, and a fighting.
No.
And Ross is just kind of looking at his hand, shuffling cards around, seeing what he can do. It's gonna.
What were you talking about earlier?
So let's see if we can.
Who won the swimming race?
Gandhi.
What can we put? Like, what can Ross actually get here to get him into this game? Like, what does he need to start doing? He's not got that Leafeon, first of all.
Yeah, and that's what's unfortunate for him is that Flareon is going ham, and but the Leafeon is really threatening too. Like
No, exactly.
He's in a lose-lose situation.
And Kyle does have the Zorua in his hand, so he could, if Ross goes for Black Kyurem, Kyle has a Zorua. If he goes for Keldeo, Kyle has a Leafeon. I think it's so hard with everything just getting two-shotted by Kyle here. Like, if Ross can play a Black Kyurem to knock out the Leafeon, it's going to be, 130 on the Black Kyurem with a Flareon, 160 with the Bengal, and then Ross is in the same position he was before, and still has 2 prizes to take. So I'm just really not sure.
Kyle, has Bengal in hand with a couple Pokemon and a Juniper. So that if you were to attach the Bengal to the Flareon and then discard those Pokemon, that's 180 with Flareon.
Wow, insane.
Which, I mean, even though there's no EXs on the field, him doing that right now would just tell Ross that he can't put any EXs on the field. And then that's just, Ross would be completely up against the wall.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
at that point, I think Ross just conceded.
Oh, absolutely. But, like, but he could do that. I mean, that's an option Kyle has. He also, I think he's knocking out the Blastoise. He should be, or he definitely should be after this Juniper.
Your pairings for your final round are now up.
I'm fairly certain he's already knocking out Blastoise with Flareon. Nope.
What everyone's been joking about. But it won't work. An omelet?
And we can also see both of these players unintentionally draw,
right?
And that's where the funny part comes in. I think in that situation, we would just see the draw happen, but we could also see one of them concede to the other and just say, hey, like, rather than both of us top 32, like one of us can top 8. You know what I mean? And we can at least one of us will be fine.
And I think it's interesting. But I feel like both of them are very straight and narrow oriented as far as things like
competition
that go.
And stuff go. Yeah.
Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see that, even if they did come to an unintentional draw.
I think we could see that if if the win was a lock for top 8. I think we'd see that, but with the win being maybe a top 16, I don't think that we can. I don't think we'll sit here. But that's just an option. It's something that I think will come up later in the season.
Yeah.
So Ross has a big Blastoise built up. Junipers for 7.
So Ross also has to go into this knowing that Blastoise is going down next turn. Kyle needs 1 colorless energy to knock out the Blastoise.
Absolutely. And I think this is kind of... Ross is obviously backed into a corner here. I don't think he means to be doing any of this. But the good part is that Ross is now trading 1-for-1 with prizes with Kyle. So I think Ross is probably too far behind. I think Kyle's too set up. But if this had happened from the beginning, if Ross had 2 Blastoise out and tried to do this, and I think this is one of Ross's...
Leon would have just immediately answered.
That's very true. But I think this is one of Ross's avenues for victory.
For sure.
We made it. Guys, we got some spam. We made it.
And we have more viewers than we've ever had between the 2 channels by far, so thank you guys for tuning in. I think it is. All right, what's our viewer count? What's our highest?
Canadian Nationals when we hit the 100.
That's true.
So anyway, disregarding Chase, man, he really is the worst. Kyle, I feel like he's been suffering from having his bench clogged with those 2 extra drift limbs. He probably would have liked to bench that Zorua in his hand a little sooner, and now he might not even bench it.
If Ross doesn't have the rare candy Blastoise here, it's gonna be...
I find it really odd that they're playing this out. Maybe I'm too skeptical, but I see no way for Ross to win.
I think Ross is still in it. Okay, so there's avenue for victory here is rare candy Blastoise, And at that
video game seniors.
At that point,
This is your final round. When this round is done, please wait until we approach your final rankings because you have a top 8.
Sorry, guys, I had a point to make, but there's some. Okay.
The top
Well, dude, they spooked me.
Still get prizes. So
Yeah, the traitor's battle.
Want something fantastic. In the meantime,
Oh my God.
All right.
you can start.
So we're gonna see
What I'm trying. Oh, retaliate. Don't do that. Don't do that.
One. Let's battle, trainer.
What I'm trying to say is that Ross could accept like Kyle's going to 1 prize here, so Ross, it doesn't matter if he plays the X's or not. Rare Candy, Blastoise, and Kyle the 1. Knock out the Terrakion.
and then
he has to,
Kyle
like,
wins with an energy.
Yeah,
But after
like
an end to 1, that's anybody's.
that's what I mean. Yeah. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ross is going to win this game. I'm just saying that like there's no point in just saying that Ross is going to lose. Like there are options that are you know what I mean. Like there are some things here. Additionally, if Ross can play Black Kyurem or even Keldeo, whatever, catcher, knockout the Flareon with a Black Kyurem, the Terrakion can only do 90, so like Ross isn't really in a big threat of losing, and he'll only have 1 energy for Leafeon. So if Ross can get a Blastoise and the attacker this turn, he's still in this game. I don't think he'd be playing it if he didn't think he was. I think I see a Juniper in his hand. So I think this game is closer than we've been talking about. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just trying to be a little too hopeful, but I think that Ross has a chance. The difficult part is going to be retreating the Blastoise is going to be active with the giant.
Hopefully, I mean, he can just. Hopefully, he has a Black Kyurem and everything he needs for the Blastoise in the same hand, so he can retreat the Squirtle for 1 before he evolves.
Right, and he's gonna looks like he's going to attach to the Squirtle.
Yeah.
And
which actually, yeah, that's ballsy because now he can't attach a Lightning to a Black Kyurem this turn.
Oh, right, and he has to attack with Black Kyurem.
Right.
Because he can't. If he plays Keldeo, knocks out the Leafeon, it doesn't matter because he has Flareon. If he knocks out the Flareon, it doesn't matter because he has Leafeon. So there's no way. So Ross does attach.
So now I think Ross is just trying to play the beach game where both players get end really low, but Ross is going to be the first one to have a turn with a 7-card hand.
That could be, but all Kyle needs is 1 energy and he wins the game.
Also, yeah.
Really, I mean, Ross again. If there's no outs to a Black Kyurem, then obviously he did what he could. But he's drawing 2 cards. Kyle drawing his 1 card. I don't see the other player's hand. Ross looks like he's just gonna.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter. Like any energy ends the game. Rush in.
He can't.
Not
now.
He's gonna beach.
Now, Kyle needs way more than an energy to win.
Now Kyle needs an energy on the Leafeon and then with a switch, right?
Or no, he's only doing.
I'm sorry. I meant
right
the Flareon because he has a.
Oh yeah, he's got a butt ton of Pokemon in his.
I believe that.
But Flareon attacks for a DCE, not 1 colorless.
Okay, sorry, I just meant 1 attachment.
Sure.
I think that I see a purple Pokemon. I think in Kyle's hand, so I assume it's like a Drifblim. So I assume he doesn't have it.
I think maybe a Scrapper.
So this is if Ross can get back into this game, this is really exciting. I'm really enjoying it. And so he's gonna beach. So he has a Bengal DCE. So he doesn't have a way to retreat the Terrakion yet, but he does essentially have game on board. I think the Flareon count is correct. I think he can knock it out, and if not, he should be able to knock it out with the Bengal. I'm fairly certain that he can knock it out with the Bengal.
He most definitely should.
And so if Ross, okay, so we're gonna see
either a Black Kyurem or a Blastoise. I mean, obviously, but that'll.
But he needs to attack with Black Kyurem, is the issue. Hopefully he can. Okay, so okay, so if he has everything he needs in this hand and then can end Kyle back down to 1,
which I think he's gonna do. He didn't shuffle his deck after the heavy ball, so we're gonna see an end. I'm assuming. I don't think Ross plays full risk.
So we're gonna go see a level ball as well. It's very possible that this game just ends unenthusiastically and Kyle just attaches and knocks out Ross. But I do find this game a lot more intriguing than originally thought. We've also used 30 minutes of time, mind you, so this could very easily be a 1-0 victory for the winner of this game.
Which could be why it's very possible that Ross, knowing that a tie is mutually detrimental, he's just expecting the winner of game 1 to take the match, and so he's fine with playing it out because he knows that a loss and a tie get him about the same thing.
Right, and he knows that, like, who knows, maybe he'll win, like, which is
exactly
what we might see here. I mean, we have the Rickety Blastoise, but I want to. Okay, there's another kill there. Either way, doesn't matter.
Right.
Benching, whatever. He's probably. That does tell me he probably has an N though. Like an N. So, unfortunately, we actually just cannot see Ross do anything big here. He can just play the same game that he did last turn, which is N to 2 and Kyle to 1. Ross gets to the beach. Kyle presumably has to beach. I mean, Kyle can draw like a float stone and an energy, a DCE. But even then, he needs the bangle, I believe. So, very, very tough.
There were 15 junior video game players.
Once again, on the bubble is brought to you by Top Cut Central. Oh, a random receiver is the one card.
I really think so. I could be wrong.
On the bubble is brought to you by Top Cut Central. Please check us out.
Please,
if you're liking the stream, go to topcutcentral.com and buy a playmat or a poke around on there, look around, or go to facebook.com/OTB Pokemon and give us a like. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/onthebubble is our main account. Our YouTube is about to be popping off in a big way. Gonna have tons of videos up there. It's youtube.com/onthebubble Pokemon. Please, if you like the stream, check us out, support us. Subscribe, like us on everything you can. And we see a beach from Ross. Kyle's hand.
Elizabeth Prince.
I didn't see the card. You said that was a random receiver?
I think so. I think it's an enhanced hammer and a random receiver. The enhanced hammer could be like a bangle or something. It was like just a reddish looking trainer. It may not be a random receiver because I don't see why he wouldn't immediately play it.
Yeah,
totally is.
It's gonna beach.
Why do you think he did that?
I'm not really sure. It could be that the last supporter he has is a Juniper. He doesn't have enough cards in his deck. It could just be because he doesn't think he can get anywhere this turn, anyways. And in the last game we featured Kyle, where he beached instead of knocking a Pokemon out, he's just getting everything now.
Mm-hmm.
If Ross doesn't end, Kyle can just Juniper for the last. I think he has 3 cards in his deck, and then have everything he needs to win the game. I assume Kyle knows what's left in his deck. I don't. Sure. I don't actually know that's what wins him the game, but
if Kyle doesn't have a switch out left in his deck, he could possibly lose here.
And he does not have a floatstone or does he play switch? I know he plays floatstone. I don't know.
He plays floatstone. I haven't seen a switch. He may. I think his win might be land crushing a Keldeo twice. He's got 2 catchers in his hand, so he's got plenty of catchers left. Right. On his coming turn, if his hand is what I think it is, I think he just needs to attach a DCE, land crush, let Ross do his thing, and then capture that same Keldeo if Ross retreats it and land crush it for the win.
You're seeing Ultra Ball. This is a really intriguing game for a matchup that Ross thought was pretty negative. And for
a game that looked really, really grim at the start. Right. It's become more and more anybody's game.
And Ross, looking at his deck, I don't think there's what he wants in there. That looks like I think he's just shuffling. That looks like the look of a person who can't have it. So now, I think that's really telling. Now I'm not sure Ross has the outs to do it. I'm not sure how many Black Curamies to go for. I'm not sure how many Keldeos. He's going to Juniper. So he Junipers. I'm not sure if he likes what he sees.
Speechless. This is intense, Dad.
This is actually really intense. A superior energy retrieval is going to let Ross get the energy that he wants, but I'm not sure that it matters. Like, he just has to bank on Kyle not having energy. He has a 7-card hand. Like, well, all right. I thought it.
Wait. Oh man, yeah. And Kyle's got the DC. Oh. Well, I don't know why we didn't think of that sooner.
No, well, I mean, he can still win with Flareon, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's checking right now.
There's like 14 Pokemon in there.
Yeah.
And he's going to promote the Drift Blim, draw with his hand, touch the Flareon, catcher, the Blastoise, and that's the game. So, Ross is making him. Show me your work. Show me your work, Kyle.
He counted out 13. He didn't even take all the Pokemon out. I think he had more than that. He just counted out that he had enough.
And that is game one. Pretty intense game one.
So in the meantime, Gandhi, it could be a fatigue factor. I mean,
which was Martha Stewart? What did you guys name these?
Martha Stewart.
Who's Nigel Thornberry?
Martha Stewart's the girl. Nigel Thornberry is the guy with the green hair. There's a girl? That's maybe not a girl. Is that not a girl?
Ryan Scott Graham over here.
No, why did we call him Ryan Scott Graham? It looks so much like him.
What did we?
All right, so Ryan Scott Graham and Gandhi are neck and neck with what's his face? Nigel Thornberry, not too far behind. Big nose guy. He's been out of the race since the beginning. I don't know why. I don't know how.
But why are you doing this?
He must be from like Ghana or something, where like not a lot of people go to the Olympics.
We go to the game.
He doesn't deserve to be here.
I left the booth for 10 minutes and I come back to this. Can we? All right. So I think that it's gonna. Thank you,
dude. Nothing's happening.
God. The shuffling.
Who cares?
I care. I think that this looks like it's gonna be a 1-0 victory for Kyle. Unless something drastic happens, we're not even gonna start the game until like the 13-minute mark. So, wow! And Gandhi pulls ahead. Wow.
And Nigel Thornberry. I've seen a lot more variance in the foot race than we were at the swimming portion. Gandhi maintained a commanding lead for like the entire
Is this a triathlon.
Yeah,
wait, it's the same characters.
Yeah,
like the same little guys.
Yeah, Gandhi won the swimming portion.
And this is on like a timer website.
Yeah, it was like we were looking for a timer that wasn't ugly, like that plain white one. And this timer website has a bunch of like little animations. There's no third event for the triathlon though.
Wait, what?
Like they don't have a biking timer.
It's a biathlon.
Yeah, so this is a biathlon, I suppose. But one is a bomb, so we're gonna do the bomb next round.
All right, man. So Ross is gonna go first, opening a lone Squirtle versus the lone Drifloon. Ultra balling away a water energy and a tool scrapper. Assuming he's gonna get the Keldeo.
Notice how Ross didn't even check his prizes. Like he knows the time is seriously of the essence here. And at this point, to see a player like Ross Cawthon search his deck and not check his prizes on the first turn is like super surreal. Like
at this point, he's just looking for the draw too. Like he knows that he can't win a full game, and then like he knows that it's not going to happen. So he's just trying to make it so that it's not a 1-0 victory for Kyle. Remember?
Big shakeups. You can see Big Nose, dude.
Alright, we can't talk about this stream while the real stream's on. At the very least. So we're going to see
things are happening.
An Ultra Ball for 2 Flareons gone.
Right, Scott Graham pulling ahead.
Honestly,
if I'm throwing away 2 Flareons, it's kind of wacky.
I agree. I think that just the thing is that Kyle knows that the late game isn't going to be as important. You know, I think I also think that he knows that there's a way in which he can play this game, especially with his all non-EX deck, that Ross just like physically can't win in 10 minutes. Not slow playing, not stalling, but just trying to bring it to a 1-0 victory. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what Kyle has planned, obviously, but he has big Pokemon like Trakan. He can just like retreat those, play. You know what I mean? Just play around with like stalling the game out in the legal, like in the like real
and
sense.
Not stalling in the sense of taking the maximum amount of time for each action,
just like
stalling as a strategy.
Like I think that
switching between attackers, not letting Ross take prizes, prize denial, like that's a real thing.
I mean, we still have 13 minutes plus 3, so that might not be. We might be jumping the gun a little bit early on that one. That's a lot of time to be taken up, considering that we do have plus 3 after that. But
major respect to Kyle, though. He is playing at like a really reasonable pace, where I feel like
definitely
a lot of people would be tempted, knowing that if they took the maximum amount of time for every action, they could definitely drag this out to a 1-0 victory.
And that's where you see things like, I mean, Kyle's one of the greatest of all time. He has nothing to prove. You know what I mean? He's also on camera. Like he's a great player. Yeah. Like I don't think that Kyle is gonna risk like his reputation or doing something scummy to top 8 a regional. You know what I mean? Like he just doesn't. He has nothing, absolutely nothing to prove.
Dustin Zimmerman, just a refresher, he is going into top 8 as the confirmed first seed, and he just pooped.
Dustin Zimmerman, 3rd place at the 2013
Vancouver
World Championship in Vancouver, British Columbia. And so Ross does get the turn 2 Blastoise. And I guess there's also an existence that happens where Ross just overpowers Kyle. Catcher the Leafeon here, Secret Sword. Sorry, catcher the Eevee, Secret Sword, and then just
go ham with
Secret Sword
just like take 6 prizes.
Go ahead and Secret Sword.
This is what we were talking about. This is what I wanted to see last game, and he wasn't able to. So actually, a catcher Secret Sword on that Eevee, and if he just keeps attaching and is able to keep catching, come on, rookie mistake.
There's the catcher. Do we have the energy? We do have the energy.
Yeah. So this is
Russian
huge.
knockout. 11 minutes left.
Ross can keep loading up that Keldeo.
And just
make
doing.
Like if Kyle benches 2 Eevees, then that's a little scary. But 4 energy on a Keldeo kills everything in Kyle's deck, so Kyle will still need a Flareon, Leafeon with a Bangle.
Kyle draws a DCE. I think he has some Eevees in his hand. Evolves to a Drifbloom. Does a Drifbloom do actually anything here?
Nothing.
Besides just free retreat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He started Drifloon, or I'm sure he never would have benched it.
Right.
He's only evolving for free retreat. Drifloon has an absurd 3 retreat cost.
Interesting.
But what? Yeah.
Dino on the bench. No worries about status conditions.
Why did he?
Either Beach or Colress maybe or something.
Hit bump.
And then also it could just be that he doesn't want to draw it. You know what I mean? Like any prize is a prize for Ross. Whatever. If Ross wants to kill it, Dino for no reason, then sure.
So be it.
Yeah.
But I definitely see Kyle starting to sweat a little bit. I don't actually see him sweating, metaphorically speaking. He has to bench 2 Eevees at once, and he has to do it soon. And he's just ending for 6, and the odds of getting 2 Eevees aren't that great. He got 1.
Not just 1.
And I think benching that 1 is really risky. He didn't hit a supporter, and he has Leafeon and Bangle in hand, so he kind of has to. I don't like him retreating there.
You have to have your whole body.
To the Dino?
Yeah.
I mean, he'd rather keep the
free retreater alive.
Around.
And of course, Ross is going to kill it. I'm so wrong.
And there's a catcher.
I'm so wrong.
Catcher for the Eevee.
Yeah. That's really, really gross for Kyle.
A Black Him on the bench, and Ross just has an embarrassment of riches. If Ross can finish this game in the 9 minutes, we won't just be seeing a draw. But
yeah,
we won't be seeing
one. Making it sound really exciting. Yeah. That's actually the most boring thing that could happen if Ross wins. But it's gotta hurt for Kyle. He knows that he is in a really, really, really bad spot, and he also knows that if this is a draw, neither of them make cut. It's mutually detrimental.
And the thing is, too, just Kyle isn't gonna ever concede. He never concedes here because he might as well take it to a draw. The best Ross is possibly gonna do is a draw.
Normal players who aren't these, they might flip a coin at the end of it, given that if they tie, neither.
We've been talking about that,
yeah.
So,
No. Dozens of everyone's talking about how one of them might concede to the other. Flip a coin, determine a way to fix the matchup. But I talked about that a little bit earlier. I think that one of them would probably concede to the other if the other made top 8 for sure. But they're even on the bubble as it is now, and so I don't. Yeah. Dustin Zimmerman, again, your number 1 seed. Are any of the other games finished? Have you seen any of them?
5 out of 6 states finals of the last 6 state championships he's attended. It's my dad.
They used to call Mike Little Dustin back in the day. Some people just see him as the inferior.
Now they call Dustin Ugly Mike.
Ugly Mike.
Back to the game at hand. It seems like Ross is now loading up 2 Keldeos. 4 prizes left. And
this is actually, I think Ross wins this. I think 7.5 minutes is enough time to just Secret Sword 4 times.
I mean, definitely. Ross gets at least 2 more turns. Even if time was called now, Ross will get 2 more turns, and he definitely has more than enough time for that. So I think we're just gonna see a draw here, a tie here.
The guy with the big nose out of nowhere. He's about to overtake Gandhi and Nigel Thornberry, and we have not seen him on screen in the first 42 minutes of this race.
Is Nigel up front? Who's this?
That's Gandhi.
I said Gandhi, and then everyone yelled at me.
So Kyle is attaching to Drifblim, which if that's not rock bottom, I don't know what is.
Juniper away all those Pokemon. Ross is going to take a look at his discard pile. Landorus, Bangle, Skyla, Computer Search, Leafeon, Drifblim, and a Super Rod. I believe that was 7 cards in Kyle's hand. he can bench a Landorus and lose faster. Computer search gets. I mean, the problem is that Kyle attacking at basically any point that's not one-hit KOing everything doesn't really matter. If Kyle can stick to EVs, like if Kyle can maybe like search for a way to like get an EV here and then super ride the EV back and get it or something, get another one. I could. And he does computer search for the EV, so he's on the same plan as we are. He's hoping, but he can't. There's no way to get another EV. But I mean, also it's not 100% that Ross has the catcher. Like Ross could just not. So, and he's going to do 90 to that Keldeo. Actually, 120 the Keldeo because of the Bengal.
While we have a second, really big thanks to Derek Farber and AJ Schumacher. They're actually holding the rest of day 2 in a completely different room, but they allowed us to pull matches out of that room to do our future matches in the same place because our extension cords couldn't get that far. So we really appreciate them being flexible and accommodating this. We hope to be able to keep streaming events and grow with the game.
Yeah, and the event's been, it's 1:30 and there's been 5
Yeah,
rounds.
they're also flying today. It's been less than like an hour 15 per round, and wow,
Ross
big
Skyless,
nose guy.
Ross Skyless for a catcher. Wow, you're right, Mike. Great call on that.
Lead for the first time
He's
today.
gonna catch the EV and basically lock Kyle out of this game. I'm glad
Yeah,
you noticed
Kyle's
that
boned.
right off. I'm glad you noticed that right off the bat.
Why is he switching Keldeos, like just to be funny?
Because the one has 120
Oh,
damage on it. Stupid.
He needs to quit using those stupid blue dice.
You need to quit pitching in the race. So knockout. Kyle has 2 prizes left. If only game 1 went this way. And 5 minutes left. I mean, again, like the problem is here is like Kyle can just like never concede either. You know what I mean? Like even if Kyle knows he's just dead on board, like he's never gonna concede. Like he's never gonna give like an extra X amount of seconds to like possibly lose the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he will get a knockout on that Keldeo this turn. I'm not sure what that does for him. I think he's out of EVs. Like I think he has 1 more in his deck, but this end might matter. This end's pretty big.
Did he super rod?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not sure. I know he had a super ride. I know he played a super ride, but I'm not sure if he put the EVs back. I could be mistaken. Or put the 1 EV back.
They've been making some more and more sense.
So we're going to see Ross go down to 2. And again, Ross has set himself up in the position. He knew this was going to happen. He has...
That hand blows.
Oh, for Kyle?
Yeah.
What is it? Catcher, Bengal.
Things. Leafeon, Mr. Mime, Terrakion, Switch, No Energy.
Bunch of dead cards.
Yeah, like...
And Kyle's going to concede.
Yep.
So there's no way this game finishes in 3 minutes. I mean, what else are you going to say?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're going to play a game 3.
I mean, for what's worth, that game finished in 7 minutes, so... But this game is not going to finish in about essentially 2 minutes. We already have 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Our clock's been pretty accurate with what the time has been lately.
Kyle's not wearing a watch. Maybe he's going for sudden death. I don't know how that works.
Sudden death.
Because Kyle, what? Is that just impossible? No, sudden death's not even possible, is it?
I'm not certain. I haven't seen it happen.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. Like any point where a sudden death situation, like it's just a tie. Like
right.
So this match has almost surely resulted in a tie. I think the reason Kyle conceded instead of just playing that game out, getting it over with, is because there's a 1 in a million chance Ross opens Lone Squirtle and passes 3 times, and Kyle can kill with the Terrakion.
Right. I mean, there's like some kind of edge.
And we were talking about this earlier today. Like you always want to play the 1 in a million chance if you have nothing else to play for. Like I'm sure one of them is just hoping for some absurd, like not necessarily donk, but like
the thing that can happen. The thing that can happen too, similar to what we talked about earlier, is that if this third game, if Ross does happen to get it, like play insanely fast and get insanely fast starts, Kyle can also do things like retreat my Terrakion, send up my drip, and just kind of like just draw the game out essentially. We're gonna see Kyle go first, open an EV, double EV versus a Squirtle and Keldeo. If there is any chance of Kyle winning this game, double EV is definitely where he wants to be, I think. We're gonna see him bangle one of the EVs, touch a DC to one of the EVs. drop a Beach. We're going to see him Juniper, away an Audino and something else, and then we're going to see him draw 7 at the Juniper.
I mean, I feel like Kyle had to just hope to open a lone Zorua against a lone Black Kyurem and just donk it. Like, there's 6 prizes will not be taken. I feel like the fact that they both opened with lots of Pokemon doesn't exist. Something that was just pointed out by some random kid behind me. Just kidding, it was Dustin. He asked us how we felt about Ross using or Kyle using Eevee's attack that could search out Leafeon and Flareon as opposed to beaching that turn.
No,
and
did beach.
Yeah, that's what we said. Idiot. I think the only flaw in that is that Ross would have to. Ross can't attach more than 1 energy on his first turn, so Leafeon won't really do much on Kyle's second turn. It would max out at 40 damage to something that was weak to it, 20 to a Black Kyurem. No, you attach 1 energy and do 40 to a Squirtle. Yeah, 20 times 1 is 20. Yep. So a little bit of confusion. Dustin wasn't sure what Leafeon did.
We have 30 seconds.
I'm really proud of him for getting 3rd at Worlds, not being able to read. That's a huge accomplishment on his part.
A literal Children of America, really.
Can we switch to the race, Kenny?
No, we cannot switch to the race.
It's a draw.
No, wait. Wait till the timer runs out.
Wow, this is actually really, really close. I have no idea who's gonna win here.
Wait, go back to the game.
Go back. Kenny's mad. Don't make him mad.
Go. Oh my God, I'm so mad at you.
Wow. Huge shocker. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I'm done.
He was completely out of this from the start. Wow. I mean,
and also our timer's way off.
that's honestly a bigger surprise than Ross winning. Than had Ross won game 2.
Okay,
I mean,
so
that
now
was just that was insane. Major props to Big Nose Guy.
Yeah, our timer's actually very off for some reason.
Yeah, our timer wasn't that far off.
Yeah, they have a table judge. They're not going to announce it for the one match.
It doesn't look like they're having any sort of deliberation about
it's just a draw. I mean, they're both going to draw into probably top 16, top 32. There's no point in
which is that's such a disappointment.
Ross is now back-to-back top 16s. Both in Vancouver and here. Kyle is his first regional of the year, top 16. Disappointing finish for both of them, but
I mean, at
the end of the day, you can't. I mean, they're talking about conceding. They're tilting their hands a bit. Let's see that.
Pulling a Geno. Looking at the bottom cards.
Yeah. They haven't signed the slip yet, so maybe that's what they're discussing. I wish we had a mic.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious.
James Koss is going to look. And also James Koss is going to look. And yep, third James Koss over there. Yeah.
All right, so James Koss is investigating. It seems like James Koss and James Koss are discussing concession. We're not sure if someone is going to concede. We're not sure how would they decide if James Koss would concede to James Koss or if James Koss would concede to James Koss. That's up in the air. They could flip a coin.
They can't flip a coin. You can do that. That's illegal.
Really?
You can't flip a coin to determine the outcome of a match.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think you can use any. I don't think you can use any kind of gaming or randomness to determine it.
Interesting.
So it looks like they've just both signed the slip. They just draw James. I don't think. They could just be talking about the game too. They could just be talking about their lives, whatever.
Yeah,
they're also human beings.
Making fun of us.
Okay.
Man, those on the bubble guys are
come
really
back to us,
ugly.
please.